Hey? That's the back. Now, I always remember in the early days, we brought out John Narco, and he said, if there are any imperfections, use them, or any problems, use them to the benefit of the tree. So don't just cut them off because they're not right, they don't conform to bonsai. Try and bring it into the interpretation of the finished result. At a later stage, if you can gin it, you can, or later stage cut it off, but don't cut it off in the beginning because you might want it. We were digging an olive a couple of weeks ago. I won't mention names. It was a big olive. It took us 4 hours to dig. Yeah, he's putting his hand up because he was one of the guys. It was that long, that wide, and about that deep we dug. It took us 4 hours to dig it. And every time we got to the dig around the tree, every pick shot into the ground was that deep. That's how hard the ground was. It was ridiculous. We nearly gave up a couple of times. Then Brian brought out some water, and we had some more water, and we eventually got it out. And then we left it to 2 other guys to clean it up. But the branch that we wanted, the nice cascade, was over here. But there was another one there with a lot of movement on it. We kept saying, oh, we must cut that one off. Maybe we cut it off here and we have some roots there. So we said, no. I said, Brian, leave it. Leave it. That one was cut off in the end, and that one's the main tree now. So the tree was this size with all this root, and then we got it back to camp and we cut it in half. We could always join it again with some glue, but it's got 2 amazing trees. But that was, we could have cut the wrong one off in the beginning. So just put that as a learning thing into your brain, because so happens. Like this is a nice front. This one here, it's a big, as Peter Sellers used to say, it's a bimp. That's a nice front there, I think. So we're going to go here. I won't put it in. I'll try and mark all my pots with wire like that, and I'll bend it up. So because when you've got 10 trees, you can forget which one you've worked on. And this is a nice feature, nice spread of roots. Got some nice branches up here. We'll get rid of a whole lot. We can get rid of this knuckle here. We can get rid of these coppice ones here. It's just for getting roots to sit. When I repotted it, I wanted to get more roots to happen in here to get some nice growth up into the top, which happened, and this is also going well now. And this long one here, it's more than likely take it off. But does anybody see it as an upright tree or semi-cascade or windswept? Thank you. Now that's our front. This particular turntable I used to make my pots on. So when I'm making the pots, I can turn it all the time. So you can get to the pot at any, Sarah will know that, you need to get around to your pots all the time working, so you don't have to pick it up and move it. And once you've got it established, if you start moving it, then you get cracks and things happening. So it's a big turntable, doesn't have a lock, so I've made wedges to just lock it underneath. So if ever you want to lock it, just put a wedge in underneath it. But remember where you put it. Not on the right side or the left side, in the middle. Okay, so is everybody happy with that? I would pot it a bit more when I get home, I think. I would move it a little bit. But I don't want this thing to fall over. Does that look better? Is everybody happy? If you're not happy, you must say so now, because things are going to get moved quickly. Old Canishan tools, as they wear down, you file that little knob inside out. So you end up with no knobs. You know the little knob here? It's filed halfway through, so you can, eventually those things touch up, and then you take them and you throw them, and start with a new one. Then you file that one, that's a new one, get welded bolt in there. Then you go to a new one, and you've got a new little knob. But these tools have gone through my whole bonsai life. So, still, drilling pliers, cutters, and your big root pruner. I don't know why they call this a root pruner, because it's called branch removal. Just as we're going through this, if I run out of time, because we've got the main demonstrator, Stefan, coming on just now, I'll go outside and finish off with the wiring and that. So, I mean, we all know wiring is a very boring exercise, but it's a necessity to do it. I don't like this knob here. Does anybody agree? Because what I would like to do with that, take it off there, and then I'd make a little squirrel hole. Figs make lovely squirrel holes, you'll see out there, and they get a little bit of rot in them, and then that rot goes back, and you start seeing all the little veins inside, all the little lines of age, and it gives you a good interpretation of age. This is where Craig should be helping me. No, it's not a problem. It's a quick one, Craig. That one there. And there's an old saying, I think everybody bonsai grower knows this: if the branch breaks when you're wiring, it was meant to break. So we'll try not to break something, but with a demonstration on a fig, you basically, or any tree that's what was I going to say? With your junipers, you end up with you start with the juniper, you clean it up, you wire it, you bend it, you do everything. It's a finished tree. It looks finished, but the fig you got to visualize further down the line. And Dawn will tell you, I did a demo and they took it off there, and now it's coming well. And if you get opposing branches, sometimes you just got to live with them. Sorry, I got some milk on my glasses. Opposing branches, if you take it off and it ruins the tree, don't take it off. So keep it. Sorry, I got some of this fig milk on my... I'm going to get rid of the unnecessary things. We might keep this guy here, I don't know. We'll just see how we go. As you can see, I'm getting rid of the thick guys, because the thin guys can bend a bit easier. Keep that one there. And there. I could actually turn on this. If there's any questions, please just ask, because sometimes we go into a quiet mode. I'm just doing a prelim cut here for the main. I've got my main branches coming out here. I'm just going on to the secondaries so we can get some bit of movement here. And just a bit of advice, in my collecting years with figs, a lot of people might know this already. If you drive around the race course here, you'll see there are hundreds of figs growing out of walls and in trees and everything. There's actually not hundreds. Out of all those hundreds, you must pick. Now, I was speaking to Willem earlier on about collecting olives and looking for the small leaf olive and the big leaf olive. There's different. Like in Munin, where we are able to go digging, there's two size leaves. You find the small one, those are the ones to collect. But some guys are just digging out anything and hoping to leave. They don't get small. They do get smaller, but not in the Cape. They're having a lot of problem with big leaves coming all the time. We are fortunate to be able to find those small leaf guys. And there's one on the table, one of mine that came from there. It's a small leaf. The first clipping, they come down, they come tiny like little peas. Can everybody see we're getting somewhere? Just get rid of the underneath oaks, yeah? When I cut my figs back, I leave a little bit of a knob so it can dry back. The same as your acacias, leave it to dry back. Otherwise, you can get dieback going into your branch. Also, collecting trees. If you collect trees, leave nice little stubs. Don't cut. Like if you don't want that branch in a collected olives, for say, don't cut it off here. Leave a stub. You can carve it back. If you cut it off there, then it dries back into the trunk, and you can lose that. So you can always gin it or whatever later. And it helps your tree to grow quicker because you're giving a bit of nutrient in the trunk. I've got, Willem's still got to come to my place after the last demo we did down in George. Vicky was there. I donated a big fig. It was the one that was done at the first convention in Pretoria. And it's got a lot bigger now. It's that size because it's pushed into the ground, but it's huge. It's a huge, I don't know how you're going to move it, but it's still on offer. This branch here going up here, well, this one coming up here, I don't like it, but this one's coming too far over here. So I might leave this one and I'm going to do a little bit of, I might reduce it here to take that ugliness away and then go with this here and keep this here. Because that's going to be basically a windswept going that way and everything's going to flow in this direction, in that direction. This is going back against the grain. So these two are lower down. They will bend easy. This I can't bend. I could bend that, but I don't like to have a big arch in a bend of a branch. So we'll just maybe go with that. And I'll take it off over here. But let's do this side first. I'm going to leave this until we get to this side. Any questions? Nothing. Take that off there. everybody knows how to wire. We don't have to start all over again from a wiring exercise. It's just locking a wire is the most important thing. So if you're going onto a normal thin branch, at least 3 turns before you start bending your tree, because that's your support. Do not wire across, straight across and around and then up to here. And then when you bend this side, that branch starts to do that because it's not supported and you will break it. And breaking a branch when you're doing a demo, it's not nice to happen. But sometimes you've got to live with it.
We were just saying what is fantastic is to watch somebody with so much experience.
Now, I've only been doing bonsai.
Exactly where you're cutting, you know exactly where you are.
I haven't been doing bonsai long, about 2 years.
Yeah, but
You came to my 21st last year. Don't be rude, Brian. Years of practice, eh?
that confidence, you know, that you know.
Shaun, can you just give some history about the tree? Where did you dig it out? How old it is? And how long has it been in that container?
Okay, this tree, I moved up from Montclair to Waterfall. I built a house up there before I retired. I started building, so I moved all my trees over weekends to my property. So everything came from that side. So it's about 15 years old, but it's been grown in tubs like that on the ground at roots, and then I've lifted and cut it and back. But the tree, this branch here never excited me, but I could see what I wanted in the tree over a period of time. And it's amazing, you leave a tree and you leave a tree and eventually you come and look and you just see something, and that's the way you're going to go. And it doesn't matter what anybody says, that's the way you are going to go. And like I say to people when they're digging trees in the wild, don't just dig up anything. We walk and look. You can ask Brian, we walked right at the top of the mountain. We marked a couple of trees and we only dug one. But people will walk up there and dig everything. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, not acceptable. But there's people that do that. So you ought to be cautious in what you do with stuff. But all around here, there's lots of figs. So if you collect them, I mean, all those figs out there that belong to Scott came from so I must talk over to this side too, came from graveyards. He's got a graveyard fig there. He's got an electrical box fig there. That big one on the table there came from, I think it was on the side of an electrical box. And they're amazing trees. But it's just time. And I'm just explaining to, I forget who it was, out there, we're given 10 squares in our life. 10, you go outside and count 10 tiles. We're given 10 tiles, okay? We start, every tile is a 10. So we start at 10, and you go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. If you had 70, you only got 1.5 tiles. You had all those, so that's how much you've had in life. So you've got to go digging and collecting and just do it, because we're running out of time. Sorry? I thought you were 46. That was yesterday. Now the guys, I know a lot of the guys overseas, when I do the wiring, I do a 45-degree angle. Some of them do a longer angle because they do a lot of customers' trees and they got to wire quickly. We don't have to wire quickly here because I can go and finish outside. So I'm just locking in here so I can get to this bend here. Yeah, so this tree is about, as we were saying, it's about, let's say, 15 years old, growing in the ground and lifted, and growing on the ground and lifted. But with moving to waterfall, the figs don't grow as well up there as they used to do in Durban. I used to, when I did my demos in the early days, I used to say to people, like these branches here, I would throw them on the ground. And I'll say, when the demo is finished, you can take those branches home because they've already rooted. That's how quick they grow in Durban. It's crazy. Look, I'm ending up with a thick wire on the thin secondary branch here, but I'm not going to wire it. I'm just going to give it a bit of direction. But I don't think this is going to bend me much. I'll have to go thicker. I'll have to double up on here to get this down. It's not going to come down for me. Many years ago, we got a guy out from America. I don't know if anybody remembers him. Maybe it was too long ago. It was when Moses was still in the bulrushes. His name was Ben Oakey. Does anybody remember Ben Oakey? Ben Oakey was the fastest wirer in the West. And he said, how do you know when you... Yeah. Fast, yeah. Ben Oakey said, you must never cut your wire too long or too short. Now, how do you do that? Never too long or too short. I mean, come on now. But he did some serious damage to some trees too. But you got to live with it. Look, not everything is perfect. I'm going to double up on this wire because I don't want to break a branch. So, to put a 5mm wire in here will be crazy. So we'll just to get the main branches in place. You can use cable ties on your wiring if you want to. Some people do, but be careful, because if it moves, you're going to break it. Remember, not too long, not too short. Sorry, I can't see you guys over that side. The tree is this side, but when we come round to this side, But figs are very forgiving. If you do break something, you can always put your carnal tape or your putty, and it does heal back in time. But especially when you have a cut like that, you must be careful of bending something here because it splits there. To bend this here I've doubled up on 4mm, but it's flexible, so I'm going to pull it down. Yeah, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to bend this down and tie it to the trunk because I want to get this one down into this position. So I'm going to put a tie wire down here to pull it here to where I want it. And then I'm going to wire the rest of the branches down, the secondaries and the tertiaries. I'm just setting the wire up in position. I'm just putting a little bit of protection over it. If you use copper wires, you can put a double wire over, and then you can put a tie in here, and you can tension it up. And you just get that tension right before it snaps, and then you leave it. When you pull this, you can actually feel it moving. So I'll pull it like that now, but I'm going to wire these first. Then once I've wired them, I'm going to pull it down like that, and then tie it here. So So it's giving me a bit of depth down here underneath. So then I can wire these guys out so there's enough light coming into this branch that's going to be coming out over here. Being the front of the tree, you'll see that. Okay. I hope that makes sense. It's also when you got your wire, make sure you've got your sizes marked on them, because if you're using from 1.5 upwards, some of the wires, they look very similar, but you're actually not 100% sure. So I put little ties on them so you know what you got. And you can just wind it as you go along. Just move it backwards and forwards. I'm going to do a quicker technique here to double up quickly. I'm going to do 2 wires at once. I'll show you now. So you take the wire like that, put it together like that. Now you've got 2. Now I'll wind it onto there, and as I'm coming along, I can move that one onto one tertiary branch and another one onto another tertiary branch. So it speeds up your wiring very quickly.
Figs from Natal seem to be this.
This is Natalensis. This is the Ficus Natalensis. It's a small leaf.
I see there's a lot of Berdavias out with people in the display.
Yeah.
Are those from this area?
No.
Or are they from down?
Originally from Cape.
So they are
They're from the Cape, yeah. You know, and I know, what's that guy's name? Flip Kotza. He got Berdavias in the Orobi Gorge. And they were small leaf too. But we got a coastal one, and what's his name? The guy in Uitenhage. He's grafted Berdavia nana, the Oudtshoorn one, onto coastal Berdavia. Because I've got some big coastal Berdavia roots. They have amazing roots, but their leaves are big. They do reduce, but the Berdavia nana reduces a lot easier. And they seed easier. I've got babies like from seed, because we got the wasp here for the coastal one.
We don't get it from seed.
Yeah, I got plenty seed. I must have a couple of hundred little Berdavias from seed, because our wasp that does our coastal one does the local one, and you end up with a couple of hundred seed on one tree, and they're all fertile. Yeah, so they grow. We're very fortunate to have that wasp here. But that guy, I'm trying to think of his name, but it'll come to me. It's this old age thing. But anyway, he grafted. He's got some amazing figs with grafted Berdavia on. But as I said earlier, I want to finish all this wiring, so it's going to take a bit of time. And if we run out of time up here, we'll just do it down there, and we can bring it back just for the final inspection and crit. Now we're going to just do that tie, and I want all you guys to get on your knees and pray, because if it breaks, we have to start again. And Brett will know what it's like, eh, Brett? This here. I was fortunate to work in the printing factory. It's an old printing blanket. If you know anybody that works at a printing factory, I use it for everything. It's on the tabletops and everything. It's nylon and rubber. It's a special printing, a rubber that takes the print, and then you transfer it onto the substrate. So I just cut it up and. But you can use that tape, that ordinary tape too, that black tape, to tie anything. You can use tubing, fish tank tubing, all that sort of stuff, anything that works. As I said to you, if you've got copper wire, I've got copper wire at home, but I didn't bring any down. You can now, at a later stage, put a stick in here and twist this. And just move the branch down and twist, and you can feel the branch coming. And it just, do it slowly and you can feel it. It's going nicely and you can just twist it slowly, and then you get the position.
Aluminium wire stretches too much.
Huh?
Aluminium wire will stretch.
Yeah, it does stretch a bit. Copper wire is a good one. Well, we're getting there. Yes.
What size wires are used?
Which?
What size wires are used?
All sizes. 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil. I haven't got to 5. This is a 4. And so I've got a 3 and a 2. Whatever works on the tree. It doesn't matter what the size is. Whatever works on the tree. I'm just using this thin wire to just put some branches into a bit of design here, because otherwise it doesn't look. But we'll finally do the final tune-up at the end. That branch I'm going to get rid of now. See that branch? I need this branch here, that one there, is in a nice position, but it's a bit underneath. But this is a nice branch here, so I'm going to wire that branch over into that position, because we got that branch up top here, which will come down and take that one's place. Okay? Does everybody see that? So those two are going to keep and take that one out and go with that one. Figs are also very forgiving on your tools. Your olives, that's why these tools have lasted maybe longer. If I'd been doing olives a lot longer, I would have got rid of some tools, because the olives smash your tools. And when you cut an olive, don't cut it and then try and twist it like that. Your blade's gone. It breaks so easy. I'm coming through the gap here, and being nice, strong 4 mil wire, it's actually supporting nicely. Now I'm coming over the top, because this is the one we want to bend down. So we're coming over the top of the wire, the top of the branch, and we'll bend him nicely. But figs, if you do that lignin growth method, clip and grow, they shoot back very quickly. So you can be quite ruthless in cutting them. I know somebody, it was Phil in Cape Town. He said, if you completely defoliate your Bert Davey house, don't you lose branches? And I said, no, not up here. I don't know if anybody's had that problem. If you completely, they just bud back. You guys are from Cape Town? Joburg. I'm going to go slowly now. I'm going to double up on the formal now so we can get it done quicker. No, that's being stupid. I've got 3 mil yet. No, that's 2.5. Where's the 3? Yes, 3. I'm going to do these oaks with 3, and I'll do 4 on this one. Maybe I should do 4 first. Sorry. Do you know what the best kept secret in bonsai is? Does anybody know? The best kept secret in bonsai. Well, in Durban, there's no best secret in bonsai. Everything is told to everybody. There's no secrets in bonsai. Goro, you see how fast I'm going now? Hey? Do you see that? I finished one already. While you were sleeping there. No, I've seen that with people with some junipers, eh? The guys start working on a juniper, and then they end up with nothing. And I said, whoa, you're in big trouble here. You've cut off too much. Now you've got to get on your knees. He said, why? I said, you've got to start praying because it's not going to grow. I've purposely gone into this corner up the top here because I cut a big branch out of here. As I explained to you earlier, if you look in that hole there, that gap, you can see it there. If you bend that branch from that point, you've got to bend it a little bit further out. If you bend it right from there, it cracks. It's not a train smash, but then you've got to go back and pray and hope it all grows back with a bit of tape on and some kind of... Ben Oakey would have fired me. I'm going to cut that piece off. You guys are going to come here. We'll just put him over there a bit. Also with a fig, you can bend it, bend it, bend it, bend it. Watch if it starts to bleed, then you just stop a little bit before. See, I'm bending this up now, and then we'll support with my thumb here, and then bend down. No, bonsai mix. My mix is different what I used in Durban. I use 6 Umgani sand, washed Umgani. I wash the fine out in a bath. So I put a 80% shade cloth on a bath, fill it up with water, put the Umgani sand on there, and backwards and forwards that fine goes through into the bath. Eventually the bath gets filled up with that fine mud. That's not throwaway. That makes the bonsai pots. I use that fine sand. It's like plaster sand. It's Umgani sand. It's concrete sand. It works well in the mix with your cement fondue when you make your pots, the cement pots that I make. And so you make your whole cement pot with that and your 3-to-1 sand and cement fondue. So I don't throw anything away. And then that sand, Umgani sand, gets put over into a pile, and I've always got it ready. I use it when I come back from a dig with my olives. I put it straight into that black bag. 100% success. I haven't lost one tree in the last 5 years.
And it's 100% Umgani sand. Don't mix it with
Nothing. Just Umgani sand for the olives with the black bag. But with the pot, I use six Umgani sand washed coarse. You can see how it's very coarse. 4 half-inch bark. one bio-ocean Atlantic fertilizers, because it's a good fertilizer. It's that pelletized stuff. And then with my olives, and I'm starting to try some with the figs too now, with I crush charcoal up. I buy bags of charcoal and crush it up with a stamper into pieces about that size. Depending on the size of your pot, obviously the charcoal must be smaller in your mix. The smaller trees, but the big trees are oh look, that's the sort of size. Charcoal is just for drainage, it's for nothing else. Rudy always said he found an olive that, I don't know if anybody remembered, he had an olive called the Phoenix. Eventually, he sprayed it with something, he killed it. Eventually, it was a dead olive in his courtyard. It was a beautiful tree. It's in his book. He said the roots had gone to another olive that had been burnt in a fire. So his theory was they loved charcoal. True or false, I don't know. I know Kathy Stein also uses charcoal in her mix. Some people do use charcoal, and it's just for drainage. And because up there, the trees stay wetter longer. So it's working on my olives, it's working on my paper box. I've repotted all my, I'm starting nearly through half of them into that mix, and it's working. Baobabs I couldn't grow. I brought them up from Durban. They just rotted and died. Then a friend of mine gave me one. Lawrence, he's here, he's somewhere around. He got me one, and I've just got another one now. I'm getting a 1 or 2 baobabs again. I'm trying them, but they take forever. But I did one last year in this mix. It's got shoots that thick on it in waterfall where they rotted before. So it's working for me. So whatever works for you, it's like anybody. I believe up in the northern province, the guys had a big baobab demo. And there were about 10 guys up on the stage, and they asked, what soil mix do you do? And every single one had a different soil mix. So what works for you? But don't say I go and get potting soil from the nursery, because it doesn't work. It will work, but it doesn't make your trees go better. You want your trees to grow well for you. Now I'm talking too much now. You see, you've distracted me. Adele? I've got one more branch to wire, and then okay, if you've got the opportunity on like that here, I'm cutting now. I could have cut further down onto this branch here, but I'm going to bend this guy down. So if you leave a fair knob there, you can wire it, and at a later stage, when you take your wires, you can cut it back so it rolls over. So leave it a bit of strength on a thin one there, because we might have to bend this quite a bit. This one is going to get tied down too, because he needs to. You see, if no one's seen this, but it's almost bar branch, there and there. Do you think we should cut that one off? Hey? No, it will ruin the tree. So you live with it. That's what I was going to say to you. That tree will fill a space. So what we're pulling this one down. This one, we could pull it down too, but maybe not. We'll pull it down over here, but leave it so when you're looking through the tree here, you see this branch down here. I'll turn it around now and show you. You'll see this branch, and then you'll see this one a little bit higher. So you're giving it an illusion of more height, but it's not. It's nearly parallel. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you look through there, that one's lower, this one's higher. Yeah. Okay, guys? Everybody happy? This is higher than that. And we'll wire this up too, so we'll create an illusion. And we'll bend this guy up a little bit and then down. Any questions? Please.
How long will you leave the wire for?
Look, you know, it's depends how well the tree's growing, but you'll find certain areas, you'll see it start cutting in places where there's more growth coming. So you can take it off and put it back in another position if it's not holding the branch. But on a fig, normally it holds. But your baobabs and your swamp cypresses, they can go back up again. So you've got to rewire it again and pull it down. So it's if you, yeah, you must look at the tree. If it's growing well quickly, then you a couple of weeks in the ground and it's. But just the thing for people that grow junipers, you can leave your wire until it just about cuts in and take it off. It gives it character. because they roll over very easy. These take a lot longer. You'll see, you might see some wire scars on one or two trees. But you can, where you got the wire scars, you can take your finger and scrape all the way around, and it eventually calluses over. Takes time. I've got a few minutes to go. I'm going to just put some little wires on these oaks, and then the top ones I'll do it outside there, just the little small ones, so we get the final, because these things you need to put thin wire in just to have that finished look. But you won't leave it on too long because the wire will cut in. On the top ends, it grows quickly, so it will cut in. But where it's growing quickly, your wire will cut in here first. Okay. I like to do final branch placements. Does anybody want to see an apex on the tree? Up here, and or take it off and just, I think take it off. I'm happy with that. It's a unanimous decision. Farouk and I made it. Oh, it's gone.
Now that shows the flow.
Hey, yeah. This area I'm going to finish, and that area I'll finish outside. But I'm going to wire all these guys here, out there, and then anything that's... Look, it'll push out something here too. I'm sure we could put something in here if you wanted to, but you don't want too much clutter. Got to be simplistic is the main thing. You know, you don't want, it must look like a windswept tree. It must be, should we call it? Guys, everybody, that's the...
Okay, so that's it. Shaun is obviously going to wire some of the smaller branches, but I think let's put our hands together for...
Thank you, thanks.